Hari Om, everybody. May come on the video, please. Shalini, are you there? Yeah. So we'll chapter 12, we'll recite from the beginning, then go into Om Shri Krishna Paramatmane Namaha Atha Bhakti Yogaha Arjuna Uvacha Evam Satata Yuktaye Bhakta Swam Patyupasate.
अर्जुन उवाच एवं सततयुक्ताये भक्तास्त्वां पर्युभासते
ये चाप्यक्षरमव्यक्तं तेषां के योगवित्तमाः
ये चाप्यक्षरमव्यक्तं तेषां के योगभित्तामा
श्रीभगवानुवाच मय्यावेश्य मनो ये माम् नित्ययुक्ता
श्रीभगवानुवाच मय्यावेश्य मनो ये मां नित्ययुक्ता उपासते
श्रद्धया परयोपेताः ते मे युक्ततमा मताः
श्रद्धया परयो भेदाः अस्ते मे युक्तमामथाः
ये त्वक्षरमनिर्देश्यम् अव्यक्तं पर्युपासते
ये त्वक्षरमनिर्देश्यम् अव्यक्तं पर्युभासते
सर्वत्र गमचिन्त्यं च कूटस्थमचलं ध्रुवम्
सर्वत्र गमचिन्त्यं च कूटस्थमचलं ध्रुवम्
तन्नियम्येन्द्रियग्रामम्
सन्नियम्येन्द्रियग्रामं सर्वत्र समबुद्धयः
ते प्राप्नुवन्ति मामेव सर्वभूतहिते रताः
ते प्राप्नुवन्ति मामेव सर्वभूतहिते रताः
क्लेशोऽधिकतरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्तासक्तचेतसाम्
क्लेशोऽतिकर तेषाम् अव्यक्ताम् अतसक्तचेता चेतसाम्
अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखम् देहबुद्धिरवाप्यते
अव्यक्ता हि कथिर्दुःखम् देहवत् विरभाव्यते
ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्पराः
ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्पराः
मदत्तमपि कर्माणि कुर्वं सिद्धिमवाप्स्यसि
अनन्येनैव
No, sorry, I was in the wrong
Sixth,
one.
right?
अनन्येनैव योगेन मां ध्यायन्त उपासते
अनन्येनैव योगेन माप्यान्त्य उपासते
ते वा तेषामहं समुद्धर्ता मृत्युसंसारसागरात्
तेषामहं समुद्धर्ता मृत्युस्सां सारसागरात्
भवामि
संसारसागर
न चिरात् पार्थ मय्यावेशितचेतसाम्
भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ मय्यावेशितचेतसाम्
So, last week we touched upon this where Arjuna asked the question what should I be doing? Give me advice, right? Should I be worshipping the unmanifested, meaning, in meditation, or, how should I worship you? Worship the manifest as in forms versus formless, which is better. Or should I be in knowledge? There's a lot of these questions. So Krishna is going to elaborate all of that in this chapter. But he says that he gives a few initial, guidance. What the people who are, endowed with a lot of shraddha, with faith in me, are the best in yoga, who worship constantly, who remember me constantly. And then he also talks about, so one is from from the angle of idol worship, or looking behind it. The other one is looking at it from an unmanifest angle, which is what the third and fourth stanza gets into, is where he says, who are able to, also restrain their senses, who have a say in their sense control, and also are even-minded. That means they are centered, and they look after the welfare of all other people. That means whatever they do, they look at what is it going to do for the others rather than looking at themselves. These people are also close to me. So now, having said that, then he goes on to the fifth stanza, and he talks about the unmanifest. Unmanifest. Unmanifest means what? The formless. That it is a challenge for many people to contemplate or even think of the unmanifest, to conceptualize it in the first place, right? And we all know that, right? What is unmanifest? To think, just to describe the unmanifest, it's very hard, right? Because there's no easy way to describe it. In fact, all of Bhagavad Gita, as much as we have read it so far, is all given pointers. It gives pointers. It says it is all pervading, imperishable, changeless. But what is it cannot be said. But the properties or the attributes of that can be said. So that's what he's saying here. Therefore, for many people, they may not be able to comprehend this very clearly. And the other second part of it is those people who are very much attached to, conscious about themselves, their body, their mind, my, etc. For them also it is very difficult, because for them the world is all about how to please myself. To go from myself. It's all about I, me, my body, my mind, my intellect, my welfare, and all of that. To think about something that is even abstract is beyond. So therefore, he's saying that this philosophy of understanding, conceptualizing the abstract nature of things. So if you look at this, right, at a broad level, the word devotion, who do you think it comes naturally to? You'll notice that it comes naturally to those who are innocent, to those who are simple-minded, to those, children. If you go, let's say, and you do a bhajan in a village somewhere, neighboring villages, all of them will come. They'll not even ask any question. What is this for? Who or which god, etc. Oh, bhajan? Just taking an example. So for those where they are emotionally connected to the god, whether it be Shiva or Anjaneya or Ganesha, whatever, that emotion pulls them. But they will not get into semantics of what does Anjaneya represent, what does Ganesha represent, etc. For them, it is just the devotion angle is natural to them. Similarly, children. You see children sitting and, without any hesitation, in all of these things. Who are the people for whom devotion is slightly more difficult? It's people who are very intellectual. What is it? What is the benefit of this? Questioning this, that, etc. So for the intellectual, sometimes the abstractness might appeal a bit more. Knowledge might appeal a bit more. wanting to know a bit more, which is what it requires, right? To get into abstractive thinking, that for them it'll attack. Broadly classifying. I'm not saying one has to, it is bucketed like this, but you will notice that, bhakti comes very naturally, to those who don't think too much. For them, it's just law of attraction, emotions. So that's what he's pointing to in the fifth verse. The sixth verse, he talks about certain prerequisites, sixth and seventh verse. You can say prerequisite, for somebody to be a spiritual seeker or a devotee, what are the things that are there? Um, Obviously, everybody, has got, certain vasanas, impressions. So there's no question about it. And how to deal with people with different categories of vasanas, Krishna is going to elaborate the next few verses. But the first thing he talks about in this, these two stanzas is that, whatever effort we put in our life, even towards spirituality, even with this, whatever, even coming to this particular session every Saturday, there is, do it with a certain goal in mind. What is it that I want to accomplish? Right? And keep that, don't forget the goal by no means, right? And every time that when that goal is there, what it does is it brings in discipline. Um, you tend to regulate, put a priority on certain things. Um, so there is when there is a spiritual goal there, you tend to not forget, right? So one of the things that Krishna will say a lot in these coming chapters, starting from here, is to remember him. What is remembering him? We will talk through that. But one aspect of it is having this goal in mind. At least when I have this goal in mind, I have to go to this temple, or I have to chant this, or I have to do this particular, puja on a certain day, whatever they may be, right? Those reminders come. And all of those are pointers towards spirituality. So therefore, every action that I do, if it has a goal behind it, and here in this goal, I mean, this applies even in samsaric life also, even in our professional life also, applies. Right? Whatever we learn, right? We attend a course, etc. It's for a certain goal to learn something so that I can apply it for this particular project, isn't it? Similarly, here also in spirituality, if we have, where it brings the mental attention to that particular thing. And second, so here he's saying one thing. So have this thing, and when you do these actions, allow the outcome of it to be with me. You give your 100% in whatever you do. Allow the outcome, you know, to be with the divine takes care of whatever the right outcome should be for you. He will ensure you don't think through it. You don't worry about that. So here Ananya, um, here this way, right? Mrityu samsara sagara bhavami nachirat by maya vechita chesasam. Ananyenaiva yogena, right? You see that word in the second line of the sixth stanza. What is ananyeva yogena? I want nothing. I'm not looking for something in return because it is anyway going to happen. I will get something, right? That the Ishvara takes care of it. But when I go with the mindset, I'm not really looking for this, right? Then what happens? My mind is less feverish about the result. It automatically happens. That is devotion. Devotion is letting the divine takes care of you in a very simple way to look at it. He takes care of everything. And it is not, devotion is therefore also not one of, it's not a part-time thing. What is, let's give me an example. What is not part-time thing, right? Let's say that, I'm a father, my son has a board exam, class 10 or class 12, whatever it is, or a college entrance exam, etc. And I today have to go to the temple and do one archana in his name and his nakshatra, etc., etc., and I offer that to him, right, so that my son gets good marks and gets admission to this college. What most Swamiji say, you're going with a begging bowl to Ishvara. Nothing less than that. That is not devotion. Devotion is not, asking favors from, I will do this and you give me this. I'll break 10 coconuts or I'll do 12, pradakshinas and I get this. It is not that. Devotion is something that's inbuilt, that is constantly there in whatever actions I do, even as things that happen every day in the morning, afternoon, evening, whenever possible, that there is a thought about, hey, this thing happened, I thank him for it. Because our scriptures say, whatever you do, whatever is the best for you as decided by the Ishvara is going to happen. So you don't need to worry about it. So therefore, devotion is not one of convenience. It is not based upon what I want. When I say I want for myself, for my family, for my business, for my job, etc. Devotion is much more than that. Devotion is letting go, allowing the divine to take care of me. And in that context, do whatever is necessary to make that happen. It's not that I sit there and, he'll take care of it. I have to put the effort. I have to give my 100%. But allow the divine to do the work that he does for us every second. Renounce the results of the action to him completely. That is what is highlighted in this understanding. Sixth time. Now you look at so that's what he's giving this assurance, that you you just simply do your work. Now if you notice in all of this, the karma yoga angle is coming, which we have learned in the third chapter, second chapter, third chapter, etc. All of those come into picture because everything is connected, right? It's karma yoga is part and parcel of our day-to-day life. So it has to be brought. And that also comes in devotion, right? Devotion is not some fixed entity, something called love, etc. That love comes in the way you do things, right? I love to do this. That's also karma yoga, right? In karma yoga, I love to do this. Why do we say that, correct? I love to perform. I love to sing. Now, sing is a karma yoga. Karma. And I love to sing means what? I'm giving my 100% into it. And I am allowing the divine to bless me in whatever way he wants. But my job is what? To do his thing. So, so this is the aspect of worshipping that he's talking about. Ah. So the mind is set on what with a goal on what I have to do, allowing him to take care of things. So here he says here, Mrityu Samsara Sagarat. You see the word seventh stanza, first line. What does that mean? Mrityu Samsara Sagarat. The world of samsara is death. Just think of it. It's the world of death. Why does he say it's a world of death? Is it that bad? No, we have to relate it, not, it's not that, yeah, when we are living, we are dying. But in a lot of things, right? Things are just, something gets started, something ends. Nothing remains as it is. It perishes, isn't it? Even my thought comes and goes. My emotions comes and goes. It dies. My feelings, everything, right? Even the possessions that I might have now will go away. Hmm. My job that I might have here would go away. My happiness that I have now because of eating a nice gulab jamun will go away. So in that sense, everything is finite. Even the cells in my body are finite. The zillions and some soul cells that I have, they are constantly dying and reborn, dying and reborn, dying and reborn. So comprehend this thing, right? That this world that you're living in is going through that, and that's what disturbs us, isn't it? The fact that, I was happy till yesterday and today I'm sad, that means what? Happiness has died. And because of the death of that happiness, I'm feeling sad today. And I don't like it. Or, I had a beautiful job, I got a promotion, I got the salary increase, but salary increase is being removed in the next appraisal. I feel sad. I feel bad. Remember that these things constantly happen. Becoming aware of this, that there is something beyond that samsara which should be my goal. That's the whole thing. So once I comprehend the fact that the samsara is ridden with all these things, finite happiness quotients, everything is limited, things are changing, right? Why do I cling onto it? So once you know, that's the reason they call cross the ocean of samsara. Because ocean is riddled with all kinds of ups and downs, winds and, thunders and, very fragile environment in the ocean if it is especially turbulent. To cross it is the world of samsara. It's used a lot, right? World of samsara, ocean of samsara, etc. So having said all of this, then he's going to say now, what are the ways to for each, for different categories of people, to move forward, right? Which also links to devotion. So it is like this. If let's say that, we go to a buffet and there are 20 items there. What do? You don't pick all the 20 items, right? You pick what is per your taste, what is per your liking, isn't it? And so 20 items are there to cater to a broad range of people, each of whom may have a unique taste. So similarly, each one of us, right, are in a journey. And we have certain things which we do, very naturally for some, which for somebody else might be unnatural. For some might be comfortable, may not be comfortable. So we are in this journey. And in this journey, one of the things that makes us unique is where we are in terms of our, residual impressions that we have carried for janmas together. So Swami Chinmayanda says, we have, each one of us, let's be clear, we are not 100% gotten rid of asanas, even if we have done a lot of work, reading scriptures, doing sadhana practice, etc. We have certain things, right? Some might be very less, some might be middle, and some might be very high still. And so let's chant now 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then we'll get into it. मय्येव मन आदत्स्व मयि बुद्धिं निवेशय निवसिष्यसि मय्येव अत ऊर्ध्वं न संशयः. Sorry, I forgot you to repeat. I'll repeat it one. If you
मय्येव
know, chant
मनादस्व
Vishnu.
मयि बुद्धिं निवेशय निवसिष्यसि
निवसिष्यसि
मय्येव
मय्येव अत
ऊर्ध्वं
ऊर्ध्वं
न
त्वं न
संशयः.
संशयः. Okay, now the ninth one. अथ चित्तं समाधातुं न शक्नोषि मयि स्थिरम्.
अथ चित्तं समाधातुं न शक्नोषि मयि स्थिरम्.
अभ्यासयोगेन ततो मामिच्छाप्तुं धनञ्जय.
अभ्यासयोगेन ततो मामिच्छाप्तुं धनञ्जय.
अभ्यासेऽप्यसमर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव.
अभ्यासेऽप्यमस्तोऽसि मत्कर्परमो भव.
मदर्थमपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिमवाप्स्यसि.
मदर्थमभिकर्माणि कुर्वन्ति सिद्धिमवाप्स्यसि.
अतैतदप्यशक्तोऽसि कर्तुम् मध्योगमाश्रितः
अथैदत्तप्यास्तोषि कर्तुम् मध्योगमाश्रितः
सर्वकर्मफलत्यागम् ततः कुरु यथात्मवान्
सर्वकर्मफलत्यागम् ततः कुरु यथात्मवान्
श्रेयो हि ज्ञानमभ्यासात् ज्ञानात् ज्ञानम् विशिष्यते
श्रेयो हि ज्ञानमप्याशात् ज्ञानात् ज्ञानं विशिष्यते
ज्ञानात् कर्मफलत्यागः त्यागाच्चन्ति नरन्तरम्
ध्यानात् कर्मफलत्यागः त्याग शान्तिरनन्तरम्
So now back to the eighth stanza. So 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th are going to go into different, categories of where one is in the journey, and accordingly, what might be the right recipe for them. So here he talks about for those first category, where a person has largely cleansed himself. He still got, and Swami Chinmay, they all put some numbers so that we all understand it, right? Let's say that there is still 20% residual vasana. That means 80% of their impressions have been cleared. Fairly advanced stage, right? What is the right thing for that person? So this means that person who is at 80% vasanas are removed is purely sattvic, very sattvic in his mindset, very clear, clarity is very high. He's able to handle situations a lot better, right? So for such a person, right, he says, bring your mind easily to me through devotion. You can look at this as a saguna devotion through form, right? Um, so it is like this, right? So this person who's there, it means that this class he's got some fair amount of sense control. So he's able to therefore put his mind on whatever he wants with a lot of conviction, with a lot of purpose. There's no doubt in his mind, right? He's come to that. So for him, his ego is also a little bit better balanced, because he's gone through quite a bit of cleansing. So he therefore says, "Mai buddhim niveshaya." If you see that word, first line, "Mai buddhim niveshaya" means put your intellect into me. Now you can say put your intellect into me through two means, right? One is, through devotions. The other thing is also being in knowledge. Now, what does this mean for all of us, right? It's like this, right? When I go to a temple, hmm, for that matter, any idol, even at home, right? I look at that idol or photo of the Lord as a symbol behind which there is a powerful entity. It's a symbol. It is not the end in itself. What the symbol stands for is what resonates with you. So when I look at, a Durga's idol, or when I look at Saraswati idol, for that maybe, what is it that I see there? The Shakti that has been bestowed on me to do things is because of the Devi. The knowledge that I've gained is because of, uh, the Saraswati. The strength that I have had, to do things is because of, Durga or Kali, something like that, right? Where we are able to look behind the attributes that I have and link it with, you know, what Ishvara stands for. This could be even with sun, right? The sun is shining. It is ever luminescent. what is, for me, luminescent means what the knowledge that I have, right? Is whatever I'm able to, do well in a particular, let's say I give a nice, beautiful speech and I'm able to illuminate other people, that is because of the divine power of sun. It could be not necessarily even any symbol. It could be moon, it could be sun, it could be a snake, right? In our religion, we have everybody, right? Even plants have a certain symbol. A cow is powerful. So here, so for us, when you look at even from a somebody might be having a Rudraksha Mala. Rudraksha Mala is here. It is materialistically it's a Rudraksha. What does that Rudraksha represent? That symbol. A national flag. People just don't go to the national flag and look at the flag and look at it. Behind the national flag is the patriotism, isn't it? That symbolism. So when we chant and do Jana Gana Mana, right? It is, yeah, there is a flag that is being hoisted, etc. What is that? What is that that sinks into us? It's the patriotism, the link, the attachment to the nation, isn't it? So that, or when you look at a photo of your grandmother or any elderly person or your own child or your parents, whatever they may be, right? What is it that when you look at the photo behind that, the love that that person meant to you in your life, what that person has done to me. So similarly, can I also connect with Ishvara in the same way? Where I am today is because of, you know, what is behind. So, so therefore, when we look at this particular stanza, we are talking about meditation, with knowledge, with awareness, where, the person is already, at a level where his vasanas have been, taken care of. So the ego quotient is less, right? Now, if you notice, you know, what happens to our, in conflicts that happen in life, if you please look at that, right? The conflicts happen wherever there is either two levels of incompatibilities, right? I'm talking especially in relationship. One is at an intellectual level, the other one is at an emotional level. But in some cases, you'll notice that, yeah, emotionally or, your thought process and certain things, you're compatible. There is a good understanding, but emotions are not. You get carried away with certain things, other person is able to stick around, or vice versa. So that doesn't match, then, there is conflict that comes in. Or emotions are okay, but the lack of understanding. You notice in some people when somebody might say, I'm a follower of this guru, right? And they do everything. The other person says, I don't believe in all of this thing. That's all, for me, I am, what you call atheist. I don't believe in all of this. And might even go, to talk wrongly about that, which might irritate the other person. So that also leads to conflict. I'm talking conflicts that happens very naturally are in a part of their journey. This is bound to occur, right? So here, what Krishna is saying is that, be, this is for those who are in this particular stage. Then, you can contemplate. Now you look at in all of this, right? Somebody who allows the divine to take care of this, etc. Multiple examples are there. One example that you can look at is the way Shivaji, right? Shivaji the king was connected with his own guru, the Samat Ramdas. You all know this, right? For him, it was all. Anything that the guru would ask him to do, he would do it. He would not even ask him, question him. Hmm. So, beyond a point when he noticed that, this tension was building up and he was under a lot of stress and he said, I'm not going to fight anymore. So he goes to his own guru and he says, I don't want to do anything. So Swami Ramdas is very compassionate. He says, oh yeah, I totally agree with you. You know, you leave your throne. You leave everything, sword, everything you do. I will take care of it. So what Shivaji asks is that you be the king. So so Guru says, okay, fine, I will be the king. I don't want. I'm not asking you to do anything. Just whatever I ask you to do, you just do. I will be the king. You say what he say? I will be the king. Whatever I tell you to do, you just simply do it. And Shivaji, said, wow, that I'm not the king. And with that freedom in his mind of, the load being removed, that I am the king and hence I have to be like fearlessly, with the Lord. And it is said that after that, every war, every conflict that he had, he would have been up. So he had completely surrendered. His devotion to that guru was so high. So similarly, right, when you go to an orchestra and, in an orchestra, let's say, especially Western orchestra, there's a conductor and then there is all these different vocalists, there is a harmonium, there is a person who's the guitar and this and that, right? So many instruments are there. And who is what do the people all look for? Even though they may know their pieces, they look at the conductor. Conductor is taking care of everything. My job is to simply do it. It's like I am the servant. So can I be the servant of that God? It could be that God, or if you have a guru in the life, can I be a servant of that guru? Can I be his ambassador? Right? We say, right, whenever you represent your family elsewhere or you represent your organization, you go on a trip, they say be an ambassador of your company. That means what? Portray what the company represents, portray what the management's principles are, isn't it? So that ambassadorship. Similarly here, as a seeker, what does the guru do? Full of passion, takes care of everything. Be in that space. That is what is highlighted in this eighth stanza. Very powerful. If you look at the inner depth of it. When you go on to the ninth stanza is for those who are not yet there. Let's say you go to a guru and he says, do this, that eighth stanza. The person says, I'm not there yet. I've still got quite a bit of garbage to take care of from my impressions, etc. What is it there for me? So he says here very clearly, he calls it the Abhyasa Yogena Tataha. If you see the second line. What is Abhyasa Yogena Tataha? The yoga of constant practice. This is very interesting, right? The word yoga and practice have never been heard before. In fact, there is nothing like, like karma yoga, etc. Don't put this in the same category. He just gives it, this is Sage Vyasa Chiji of portraying the importance of being regular, being practicing it regularly. That's the reason this word is common. It's not that that's a separate yoga like karma yoga, dhyana yoga, jnana yoga, etc. And where does this particular stanza come in? If you go back to the sixth chapter, I'll just see if I can find that the stanza here. Um, yeah, there is a stanza yato nischarati tato this here it is 26th stanza. Yato nischarati manaschanchalamasstiram. There that particular line it starts for those whose mind is restless. You know, restrain it and bring it back to me, bring it back to the self. That's what, same thing. That is also Abhyasa Yoga. This is also Abhyasa Yoga. So this Abhyasa Yoga, what does it say? That, if you're, for you to, to be in devotion, to be in full knowledge is still difficult, at least do one thing, right? Restrain yourself, right? Whenever you realize that, I'm going astray, bring it back. It is simple like this, right? Let's just say, take even for example, on a particular day, I want to do detox for myself from multimedia. It's Sunday, obviously I don't have any work to do, but then, I want to do a detox. To do a detox, I say, okay, I'm going to cut off myself from this. But then what happens once in a while, the mind says, why don't you look at this particular shorts, etc. And so what should we do at that particular time? Say stop, right? Come back to what I was doing earlier so that I'm not getting caught on that. So my purpose is clearly the goal is detoxification. And hence I have to do this. So that is what, so this comes a bit with awareness, um, and how does that awareness comes from the practices themselves, right? Doing japa, doing pranayama, doing sudarshana kriya, whatever practices are there to help quieten the mind is what is needed here. It's not going to come just like that. And the question you ask is, why is it that my mind is restless, right? The way to naturally to think about this is, what makes thoughts come in our mind? Let's ask ourselves. What makes thoughts come in our mind? It's all, so when we look at what we call as chitta or memory, I think all of us are cut off here. I don't see anybody on the screen here. Shalini, Kubeshwaran, your videos are all off. Please, it'll be helpful if your videos are on. Huh? That'll be nice, because otherwise for me it looks as I'm talking to a blank screen.
No, sir, no, sir.
I really
Phone
appreciate
is
it.
getting all heated and Zoom is
No, I understand. I
closing. So
understand. I
I
understand.
switched off the video for some time.
No problem. No problem. Yeah. So when we look at what brings thoughts into us, right? What does the vasanas? How do the vasanas come? Through certain thoughts. And where are those vasanas sitting? In our subconscious mind. It is not the conscious mind that brings up thoughts most of the time. It is the subconscious, because that is where deep-rooted thoughts are sitting. Somebody told me this 10 years back, and that is deeply embedded. Where is it sitting? Subconscious mind. Somebody insulted me, somebody scolded me, um, especially negative things, all fits. It percolates so deep into ourselves that it sits in the subconscious. And it is only through abhyasa that I can cleanse it. It is, so that's something we have to remember. So this whole context of where these things are sitting, how to cleanse them can happen only through practices. Meditation is one of the best ways to get rid of all these impressions, right? When we talk about sins removed, remember those words would have come in the previous chapter, sins getting removed, etc. What is that sin? Sin is the residual stuff that's sitting in my subconscious mind that I want to get rid of. So that, with that impression, I don't do something that is unwarranted. Right? Whenever I have a hatred, thought sitting deep, and that comes up, what does it do? It doesn't make you do good things, right? It makes you do unwarranted things. Either you go shout at that person, or you look at that person with a lack of respect, whatever it may be. That should be avoided. What are the ways to cleanse it? Is through these practices. Japa, yoga, pranayama, kriya, meditation. So when we are able to do this, so abhyasa, what does it do? It slowly starts cleansing the mind. And abhyasa is also, remember, to not be looked at as something when it is convenient. Sage Patanjali also, if you look back, those of us remember when we started looking at Patanjali Yoga Sutra, that's what abhyasa is stressed a lot by Sage Patanjali. It has to be done every day over a long period of time. He said that. It is not, 1 month I did it and I'm cleansed. It will be done over a long period of time. So to get rid of that restlessness, to get rid of that lack of understanding, these are all the steps required. So that is what is stressed here as yoga of practice. Then we go on to the 10th stanza. The 10th stanza is somebody who is, say, even this practice is hard for me. I don't have the time. And so here he gives a very easy, he says, okay, fine. I understand that, you may not be in that mental state yet. At least can you do some seva? Can you do some service work? And when you do that seva work, keep me in your pocket. What does it mean, keep me in your pocket? Remember me, that even to do the seva, it is happening because of my blessing. Otherwise, you would not be able to do the seva. For you to, let's say you have to do a garden seva to plant new plants, I should be able to dig with my existing stand, carry things with heaviness, etc. The strength for doing it is coming from whom? From the divine. Remember me. So do my work, right? And the important thing is to carry me in your pocket or in your mind, whichever way you look at it. It is to remember that, to have a sense of gratitude that this seva work also I'm able to do only because of him. So, so there is the seva, you can see multiple ways, right? What seva means. We just have to apply some of that into our own life and do it. Okay, now I want to bring up something in the context of the soul devotion topic, right? Um, in our Shastras, there is a reference to 9 different possible ways to develop that bhakti. It's called Navavidhi Bhakti. It's called Navavidhi Bhakti. And I'll just broadly go through them. So the first one is called Shravana. Shravana is meaning what is listening to his glories. Shravana means listening, isn't it? But here we are listening to his glories, Shravana. Second one is Kirtanam. Kirtanam is singing his glories. Bhajans, where you attend Akhanda Bhajan, etc., whatever comes with that. Then Smaranam. Smaranam is what? Remembering him. Remembering him. Fourth one is Pada Sevanam. Pada Sevanam means what? Doing what? Following his teachings, right? That's how we offer, right? Whenever we say, I offer myself, at the feet of the Lord, that means whatever his teachings are, what the Guru, whatever he says, you do it. You don't even question. Fifth is Archana. You all know what Archana means, offering flowers, offering my love to that Guru. It's not a mechanical operation again, right? All of this, the main state of mind matters in all of these things. Of course, when you're doing Kirtanam, you're soaked into the music. When you're listening to Shravana, somebody's talking about all avataras, etc., you're soaked into it completely. Vandanam, right? Vandanam is any pride of prayers. So you can see that, depending on, where a person is and what the traditions in the family are, etc., each one of them might apply to some degree or more. Dhasyam, which is serving the devotees. And Sakyam. Sakyam means serving the friends who are again, your own friends. So if you notice, if you remember, there's one katha, right, in the Mahabharata war, after the Mahabharata war, when I think there was a yajna that was being done by the Pandavas. All the washing of the legs, right, was done by none other than Krishna. For him, that's the way he looked at it. Krishna washing the legs of the people, that means the devotees, etc., coming in to him, he was washing their legs. That means he was washing the legs of his own devotees, of friends of the Pandavas, etc. And then Atma Nivedana, which is the highest, which is completely surrendering to him. There is no one other. It is him only. So these are prescribed in our scriptures as referred to as Navavidhi Bhakti. Right? Again, one might look at this and each one say, I do some of this more, etc. It's not that all of these are compulsory, but all of these are, are linkages towards a bhakti that we talked about earlier, which is in the context of this stanza, which is the 10th stanza, where I'm not yet cleansed completely. There's a lot of garbage there, so I need to remove it. But through these practices, this is also the
Sir,
abhyasa,
what is
right?
the last
If I
one?
Atma Nivedanam.
What is the last
If
one?
I said right, Atma Nivedanam. Did you hear that? Okay. All right. So all of these are again what steps to take one from let's say 60% vasana still remaining to maybe 80, to 40%, 40 to 20, like that. And so the more cleansing happens when we follow some of these things that are there in this Navavidhi Bhakti. And also, so that was the 10th stanza. The 11th one is even more simple, right? Somebody says, I don't have time, I've worked 24 hours out the 20 hours every day. I spend my time 20 hours at work. My family needs it because, I'm the only bread earner. Somebody might say, right? There's probably nothing wrong with saying that. What do? He says here as the last one, which is 11th stanza, if you're not able to do this, take in refuge in me. Can you at least allow, the results of your action to be driven by me? Can you completely renounce it? Can you not hold on to what the result should be? That it should be like this, it should be like that, etc. Now, what does it mean to us? It means I'm worrying about the results, right? My child wrote an exam. I put all the effort to study, make the child study. This result should come. This result should come is a worry. This result should come is putting a condition on God that this what should the result should be. Can I for a moment say I have done my best? Right? Whatever is destined for my child will happen. Can I allow that? Can I stop worrying? So if you look at this 11th stanza, it is simply to all of us saying, stop worrying. And ask yourself, right, has the things that you worried about, was it really true after it happened? Unwarranted. You put unnecessary mental tension into it, right? And not only were you uncomfortable with it, you made others also uncomfortable with your worries, talking about worries. You would call every time you call, you would express this. Do your 100%, whatever it is. Allow the rest to be taken care of by me. There is a Narayana, there is a Shiva that's taking care of the results. And this is where Ataitadapya Shaktoshi Kartum Madhyoga Mashyataha, complete refuge in me and allowing me to take care of the things. So here, if you see, the things that comes into mind, right? So let's say that I am that I that that I worry about something, right? Worry here. What is it going to do? Let's take any result, for example. What is the result of an action? The result of an action is equal to action plus time plus grace, isn't it? You do an action now, either right away or over a period of time. There is a time factor, and then there is also a grace factor. And the best of it is that result is always given by the divine based on what is the best for you at that time. He wants the best to be given to you. not the best as I think it should be. That's the difference. So if I tell myself that, if that God loves me, so if only I think God loves me, then only devotion is going to come, right? So for me to think God loves me, what is needed? Shraddha. Shraddha means what? Faith, not much more than faith, right? I believe that He is the caretaker. Can I, how much do we internalize this particular aspect that He is the caretaker for everything that's happening in my day-to-day life? We sometimes put ourselves saying, because of me this happened, this didn't happen, etc., right? But if we say that He is the ultimate caretaker, I am just a conduit through which I'm taking care of my family, whether be the mother or the father. I'm just a conduit for teaching my child this subject or that subject, etc., or giving the guidance. But ultimately, he is the caretaker. And the caretaker's job is giving the best for that person at that particular time. If we go with this belief, worry will not come. So if you see, worry comes only because somewhere there is a iota of doubt on God as a caretaker. I simply look at it that way. That means somewhere you're saying, it still depends on I did this and hence it happened, etc. Or the results come that, it's not favorable toward, then there's a doubt factor. And if there's a doubt that comes in, that means you have not had faith. Shraddha is lacking. So this to everything, right? Whether it is exam, whether it is, some other project that you're doing, for yourself, for the family, for your health, whatever it might be, or even for your, loved ones, you're doing some action and, it didn't work out. Especially when we take care of our parents, right? We go to the right doctor, we take them to the right people, and yet things are not happening the way it should be. And then we wonder, we worry, we do everything. Allow him to take care. He knows best. So remembering that the result is equal to effort, which should be given 100%, not half-hearted effort, plus time, plus grace. In that grace comes everything, right? It's Ishvara's blessing, the influence of other people also who might have contributed for that result to happen. Let's see, if I take my parents to my doctor to get something done, right? It is you taking the person to the doctor. It is a doctor's skill, the medicine, its impact, and the state of the health of the person who, all of that matters in terms of the result. We just think that I've done this, result should be like this. I'm just taking that example. So here he's just saying, um, so this is a chronological order of things where he says, so first one was what? Being in devotion, being in knowledge. Then second one was abhyasa yoga. Then third one was, if you're not able to do that, to at least, what do you call, uh, yeah, do seva, right? And remembering me during the seva. Fourth one, okay, you're not able to do anything, at least don't think, worry about actions, results of the actions. Do your actions, allow me to take care of the rest of the things. Okay? I think either we'll stop here. Sorry, beyond time here.